Then, excellent.
Hello.
All right, so,
Along YouTube.
it's gonna take me a couple of minutes to sort out which page is where. What's the matter, Nixon?
Like, so, yesterday when we had to hand in the classwork, I felt like I handed in my test.
If that's the case, you mean your your quiz?
Yeah, quiz. Well,
If that's the case, I'll look through in a couple of minutes to see if I find it, okay? Check with me later. Okay. So let's get out your quiz because the grades were very disappointing. Lots and lots and lots of 50s on the quiz. So, let's go through so that you understand. You know, it's so incredibly important. I was at this conference on Friday, and the conference on Friday was all about middle school learning and stuff like that. And some lady gave some presentation about, and don't ask me how they know this, but it was either a very convincing cartoon type creation, or maybe she was telling the truth. I say that because different people have different priorities, but she was some professor from Stanford, which carries a little bit of weight with it. And she said that now they are able to physically see how if you make a mistake, your brain learns. We all know we're supposed to learn from mistakes, but she said that somehow they can see the neurons actually creating new pathways so that they don't repeat errors and they don't repeat mistakes. It would be pretty cool. And I know that the little creation she made, whatever, it looks like a cartoon, it looked pretty convincing. You know, I don't, sometimes I think scientists get a little bit over the top, God bless, with what they claim is true. I know there's many examples of that in the history of science. So I'm going to take her at her word and say that you can see somehow something as small as a nerve actually creating new pathways based on the fact that they got something wrong. And they said it's the most effective way of learning. So if you remember, I said to each and every one of you that you should have a separate notebook, and that every time you get a question wrong, it should go into that notebook. And you should be writing into that notebook. If you do that, you will take almost all of the questions that you get wrong on these homework sheets or quizzes or anything else, and in relatively short order, certainly well before the Regents, you will have learned how to do every one of these questions so that you don't make mistakes again, okay? So I hope that you're doing that. If you are not, and you are being lazy, then you are doing exactly, Sabrina, exactly what you should do if you want a disappointing grade. Think about that. If I said to you, if I said to you, listen, let's draw up a game plan so that we can all get disappointing grades, what would we do? Well, don't do the work on time. Copy. Copy from somebody else. Don't do it yourself. And when you make mistakes, pay no attention to them. Don't learn from them. Don't! Because God knows if you learn from them, your grade's going to go up. And we don't want that now, do we? So I strongly recommend that you get this separate notebook and you use this notebook to record your errors. And then you look through the notebook, two's a little low, 3 or 4 times a week. Learning from your mistakes. If you do that, you don't have to worry about repeats. And here's a really good example. A number of people put choice 3 for this one. Now, choice 3 does satisfy the data. Look, I put all the little check marks here. But the problem is the word scatterplot. Scatterplot is always graphed like a bunch of points. So if you notice, the points on choice 2 are exactly the same as the points on choice 3. The difference is they don't connect them on choice 2. And since it's a scatter plot, you should not connect them. The thing that goes through scatter plots, I hope you remember, is called lines of best fit, linear regressions. Mm-hmm. Didn't we say we never go from point to point to point to point to point?
Yeah.
Yet that's what's done here. Okay? Next up, sequences, which we have had, if someone said to me, what's the topic that kids had the most difficulty with this year? I'd probably say sequences. I don't know if that's the timing of it or whatever it is, but that's definitely the thing that's given the most difficulty. Now, it says the first term is 10 and the sixth term is 40. Hang on, Mom. Here's my scratch work. Here's my first term of 10. Then I got second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term, and 40. Now it's an arithmetic sequence, which means it has to go up by the same amount every time. It went up a total of 30 and 5 places. So 30 divided by 5 is 6, which means the second one is 16, 22, 28, 34, and then 40. Puts me exactly where I want to go. Now, remember the way to figure out a specific term. It's the first term plus the common difference, which is 6, times n minus 1, because we only add the 5 19 times. We don't add it 20 times because we don't have to add it to get to the first one. And that works out to 124. Molly?
I got like the first two wrong and you gave me like, I don't know, 50 points for both of them.
All right, well then I just screwed up, but don't worry about it. Okay, appreciate your honesty. Now, let me go and try to find the other half of this quiz. It's just the way it works.
Yeah, that's it, that's it.
Okay, good. All right. So now, the interesting here. I couldn't believe how many people got this question wrong. I thought it was phenomenally easy. You know, on Friday, I was at St. Joseph's College doing this presentation thing, and I was talking about the daily quizzes, and I said, I am in awe of how constantly I learn. What I think the kids will get right, they get wrong, and what I think they'll get wrong, they get right. So it constantly happens to me. Yes?
I got all these questions wrong and you gave me a 50.
Whatever. I don't mean that like you're bad. In a minute, I'll tell you why I wasn't here yesterday, and maybe that has something to do with it. All right, so look. Here is, they talk about, if you look on, what are the first 5 words or 6 words here?
Based
Based
on
on
a line
Based
of
on a line of best
Best
fit.
fit.
So you have to draw the line of best fit, which runs right through the middle of the points. Then I go to 4, I go up to the line of best fit, and I go over. 72 is the best estimate there. Now, I think with this question, as soon as you saw to draw the line of best fit, things started to make more sense. That's what I mean about having that separate notebook. If we write down this question and you review this question, you won't make that mistake again. However, if you don't, we could have problems. Molly?
How much attention were you paying when you graded this?
You know what I'm afraid of, in all honesty? I have 2 answer keys out, and I might have looked at the other answer key.
Thank you for the free 75 though.
Okay, yeah.
Let's say you did draw the line of best fit, but you still got it wrong. Is that just stupid? I'm guessing it's.
It depends. You should go up day 4 to the graph, and then look over. Did you do that?
No, I do.
Then that means you didn't understand something. So write yourself a note about what you didn't understand, and then learn from it by writing it in the notebook. You'll be fine. Okay. The last one. I didn't even consider the recursive way to define this. So you could have done it recursively. You could have said that a sub 1 is 7, and the rule is a sub n plus 1 is a sub n plus 4. You could have done that. I didn't even write that down, but a couple of kids did that in the first period class and got full credit. If you are trying to do it where you figure out the nth term, a sub n is, you got to go back and find the first term, then the common difference is 4, times n minus 1. It's always times n minus 1 when you want to find a specific term. Or you could do a little algebra here, distribute the 4, and just summarize it as 4n plus 3. Or you could have said, well, if I go back 1 more, that's kind of like a y-intercept then. And that would bring me back to 3. And then I'm going up by 4s. All right, so any of those ways is good enough to come up with the correct solution. Are there any questions for that? All right. Okay. So obviously, we want to make sure that we're getting those particular questions right and so on and so forth. Now, as far as why I wasn't here yesterday, I had planned all along to go to, I'm just trying to find the first page of the assignment here. Okay. Well, I'll get into this in a minute. So anyway, I had hoped all along, I knew all along that I had my conference on Friday, and then I was going to go upstate for the only time this spring and do some fishing on Saturday and Sunday. And I drove upstate. I went after the conference. I went after all of the things I needed to do. I got all of that done. I arrived upstate at 1:30 in the morning. I fished on Saturday, I fished on Sunday, and I even came home early, which is something I would never do, except three things came together all at once. First, I had an epic day on Saturday. I caught monster fish, lots of fish. It was a great day. Second, my buddy had a really bad day on Saturday, and I didn't want to rub salt in the wound, so I kind of kept it slow on Sunday and didn't fish that hard because I knew that if I caught a bunch more big fish, he would not be a happy camper. He wasn't a happy camper anyway.
Such a nice guy.
Yeah, so then I said, you know what, let me drive home a little early. Prime time for trout fishing this time of year is sunset. When the sun is going down and it gets dark, the big boys come out to play, normally speaking. So I was ready to rock and ready to roll, but I said, you know what, let's end it early. We ended it about 7 o'clock. I was at the car by 7:30 on the road. And I had to go to Connecticut first, drop him at his mom's house because he's staying up there to do a couple more days worth of fishing, then drive home. It's 4 hours all the way around. I said, no problem. I'm on the road at 7:30. I'll be home by 11:30, be in bed by 12 o'clock. That's my normal time of going to bed. I will get up, go to school in the morning. Well, everything was going really, really good until I hit the Whitestone Bridge. The Whitestone was better than the Throgs Neck, and I stopped in traffic for an hour and a half. Just stayed there. I didn't get home until after 1 o'clock in the morning. Had a couple of things I needed to do when I got home. I didn't go to bed until about 20 to 2. I was still going to get up and come to school, but I forgot all about what happens every single year at my house. Underneath our bedroom window, we have this honking big rhododendron bush. You guys know what a rhododendron is?
Yes.
They're the ones that are out now with the big purple flowers like this big on them,
okay.
clusters. Now, I am sensitive to seasonal allergies, and I didn't realize that the window was wide open as I slept all night. So at about 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning, I woke up with this pounding headache from my sinuses getting aggravated, and I said, forget it. I can't. I can't go to work on 3.5 hours sleep and a pounding headache. It's just not going to happen. So that's when I called in sick. And yesterday, at least, they gave you the work to do. They didn't give first period the work to do. Mind numbing. Okay. Who'd you have?
Mr. Hubert.
All right. Well, I left the note right on it. Well, they printed out the note downstairs. The first period teacher says you didn't leave work. I was like, get the heck out of here. And I read the note. It said, go in the cabinet above all the white papers in the back of the room. First shelf's math 8. Second shelf is algebra. Take the first set of dittos on the left. How hard is that?
Did you find out who it was?
Yeah, right?
Read that out
I mean,
loud.
how? And it was there for the first class, and they didn't do it.
Maybe she just didn't want to do it.
Well, that's the
So-
truth.
Who was it?
Who was the
Yeah.
first up?
Is it
Oh,
Miss Diamond?
Boyle?
Oh, I know her.
Boyle.
Boyle. Yeah, is it a sub?
Oh, that's the one that gave me the coloring book in the opt-out room. Oh, her. Yeah.
I love
no
her.
Good, no good. Yeah. She
Yeah,
was
well,
good,
she didn't
yeah.
get the job done. Okay, now, correct answers to the quiz. For some reason, I'm not seeing page 1 here.
Always scared for.
You're not organized.
No, I'm actually pretty organized. Okay, so here's page 1 from the quiz. Ready? Check it out. Not the quiz, I'm sorry. This is from homework 8A, if you would please get out homework 8A. I believe this is the one that was probably due on Friday. Okay, Sean, stop talking. The one that was due on Friday. And what I'm going to do is scroll through this, and there's a couple of types of questions I really want to emphasize. Can you slide this back, please?
I'm gonna drink so much of that.
I drink
It's so
3 or 4 a day.
it's so pathetically
That's a lot.
average. It's like watered down orange juice.
Yeah, but here's the thing, it doesn't have sugar, it's very healthy, and it has a tiny bit of caffeine in it.
He's gonna stay hydrated.
So, it's either that or water, and at least it has a little bit of flavor. So, I drink water and I drink this, and that's all I drink.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
wouldn't
drink
drink it
anything
like on the reg.
Okay, yeah, plain water gets boring. That's all I've drank it for 7 years.
I love plain water.
It does.
Yeah.
It's so boring.
I like the Zani water. Okay, so, and I also like Smart Water. Which notation describes the set containing 1, 2, 3? And then, hey, we look at the choices. Ready? The correct answer is choice 2, because look, a lot of kids will think 2, Beatty, a lot of kids will think 2 can't be the correct answer because they'll say, there's no 0. How could 0 be a part of the answer? But look, the 0 is less than the x. So that means it doesn't include the 0. It only includes numbers bigger than that. And then I emphasized the word integer. Integer means like whole number, 1, 2, 3, 4, negatives, -3, -4, -5. In this case, they're only giving us positive ones, so I don't need any negative numbers. But the correct answer is choice 2. Notice the difference between it and choice 4. In choice 4, you would have been allowed to equal the 0. That's not allowed to be. So therefore, it can't be choice 4. It has to be choice 2. And the problem with choice 3 is you're not allowed to equal the 1. And over here on choice 1, you're not allowed to equal the 3. But clearly, there's a 3 in the set. And then similar idea here using set builder notation. This time, you are allowed to equal the -3. And you're allowed to equal the 2. And it's integers in between. So that's what you get. Okay? Another way to talk about these questions, on every Regents exam, they put one question like this, all the time. Which interval represents the set of all numbers greater than, so I need a bracket, or equal to 5, and less than 12, so I need a parenthesis. That would be choice 1. Because this is on every single Regents exam, I super strongly suggest that you prepare for this question. It's an easy question if you prepare for it, but if you don't, you could lose points on something very simple. All right, so from this point forward, that was the main point I wanted to make today was about that part 1 question. Now, from this point forward, I'm just going to scroll through. Stop me if you need help. On number 2, you should know the formula for axis of symmetry. It's right here, x equals -b over 2a. Sometimes they ask you to do it algebraically rather than on your calculator. If they say calculator, just do this. If they say algebraically, you got to do x equals -b over 2a.
I have a question.
Yep.
Can you just like find the maximum and just?
Again, as long as it's like this one, absolutely.
Alright.
But the problem is that sometimes they'll say do it algebraically, and then it's not so simple.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah.
Will we get that formula like on the?
No. Got to memorize it.
Oh, man.
Yes.
So, will we ever have to do like miles to meters or like metric to non-metric units?
Sometimes.
Oh, lovely. Will we get the conversion for that?
Very little. They give you a few of them, not too many.
Okay, are we gonna remember that?
Yeah, I listen, I give you the formula. I think you get the formula sheet. If not, you'll certainly have it by Thursday.
Okay.
So you'll be able to see it then. All right. That's the quiz. Here we go, numbers 3 and 4. Oh, that's the quiz. Now, there's something got really whacked out with the way it printed out today. All right. Is this the next page on the homework? No, it's not. 14. Hold it. 11. This is it then. This is the next page, right?
No. It's this one.
Is there one more page?
Yeah, 3 and 4, but that's pretty easy.
All right, my guess is that somehow they got closed or whatever. So let's go to this page. Any questions? I think this stuff should be pretty easy. But again, I'm continually amazed at what I think is easy. It doesn't work out that way. Next page. On number 30 here, be very, very careful. A lot of kids solve the inequality, but they never answered the question. State the smallest possible value for the solution set. It's 6. No question? Okay, this guy, C would be 9 because you got a half and square, right? So I half the 6 to get 3 and then squared it. We just normally write the little plus C up top. They wrote it on the side, that's all. Same idea. This question was a little tricky and challenging. Oh, is this the second page?
No.
No, okay. All right, so I'm just going to scroll through this. Any answer you didn't get, you can go on the YouTube channel and check out. Just pause it when you get to whatever part you need.
Following students, please report to Room 5, Melissa Harper, Reese Salerno, and Leticia Franzisi to room 205, please. Following students, please report to guidance.
Oh, you have a test?
Rebecca,
Yeah, you have to write out like
Anthony,
full sentences. Alright. Yeah, I'm gonna fail it.
I want to dress up like
I'm pretty sure a lot of people wrote out too.
Unbelievable!
What does the take-home quiz look like?
That.
That. Okay.
All right, Courtney, I won't miss next time.
What if I were to
Oh, I am so ready.